Good afternoon and welcome to the Smoke Pit Project, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back a very special guest, Marcus and Tony. How are you today, Marcus?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, pretty good. I put in the other day. I put on the Facebook page for the Smoke Pit Project. I kind of gave people a choice on what they wanted to do first, and one of yours was one of the first replies, and it was Division in America. And I've thought about that one myself, and I was actually talking to a doctor. We were just kind of, shooting the shit a little bit, and I felt like it was divided. Like I felt like, it seemed like everywhere I looked, there's some kind of division, some kind of fragmentation, some skirmish, people going back and forth, and she seemed to disagree a little bit. Like she seemed like she didn't think it was as bad as it seems. How do you feel about that?
Well, I agree with it to the extent of the media tends to blow it out of proportion. Acting like, whatever the division in America is going to be, whatever media, whether it's mainstream media or social media tells people that it is, and it's up to those people to believe it or not. So I think the biggest division in America is the division of mainstream media and the people. We don't see, a lot of the good things that are going on in the world because that doesn't sell.
Yeah, it doesn't get ratings. It doesn't get likes and hits like good old drama and discontent.
Right. But don't publicize the great things that the guy carrying the gun concealed all the benefits to having that person there and stopping a violent crime from even happening, but rather publicize the nastiness of weapons and only talk about the other 4 or 5 bad things that happen in America. So I think the biggest division in America is actually between the media and the rest of the public.
Yeah, I totally see that. I kind of agree there. I was kind of wondering myself too if it was like an isolation, like with the technology that's out now. People are far less likely to have to go out and do the things that they used to because it's right there at the touch of a button.
You have to be careful with what's at the touch of a button because you can't just believe it because you found it on Google, or you can't believe it because you found it on Facebook or Twitter. I mean, the reality is our intelligence as a people has plummeted because instead of actually going and reading textbooks and actually reading material that has factual data that backs it up, it's much easier for people to just type something into Google and go to the first one that pops up, and then that's what they know to be law.
Yeah, they do trust what they read on the internet a lot. Even when I was taking some college courses down here at the local community college, a lot of the homework you had to research it online in Google, and they of course they asked for sources, and it was kind of like still kind of being used or integrated into, I guess, big college. But I always thought it was kind of odd that you would trust these guys to go on the internet like Google, and then you have to put a source, but how do you know if that source is true? It seems like you do a lot more fact checking than you do actually getting research done some days. That was the way it felt for me anyway.
Well, yeah, because back in the old days we had textbooks that listed sources, and you could verify the content in that research document based on the sources. Just like when we do research papers, we have to read things and then list a source, and you'd be surprised at how many people taking, master level college courses are getting beat up on papers because some of the content they're using is not actually based on facts. It's based on opinion. And, we see it in the mainstream media all the time. There's actually people that believe in their heart of hearts that their opinion is more important than fact.
Right. They capitalize a lot. So with you feel like things get gridlocked though because of the such a bombardment of information, with this whole everything's on Google, kind of look it up, verify it online kind of mentality.
Yeah, you get bombarded. There's so much information. It's hard to discern fact from fiction. Because if you talk about it convincingly enough, then it's easy to do.
Yeah,
it's easy to believe.
Well, like for me, I feel like I sound like a conspiracy theorist sometimes. Because like you said, it's how do you believe it? And with Photoshop and all these new manipulation software where they can manipulate video and media and sound, and it's like it's hard not to get paranoid about what exactly are they feeding you. And there's so much distraction with just little shit, like bathrooms. People are fighting over bathrooms, for fuck's sake. Who, if it's going to be male, female, gender neutral. There's arguments over, between conservationists and Republicans, Democrats, and even Congress is bickering. And it's like, how the hell do you get anything done? Number one.
Well, honestly, when you talk about division in the country, I think the biggest division, is in the political spectrum, because, and it's not even Democrats and Republicans, it's the Democrats from the extreme left Democrats.
Right.
They've divided themselves in the House. They've divided themselves. They've chosen to go and disapprove of the original Democratic, thought process. And they're like, well, we're going to be over here doing our own thing, and we don't believe in anything you do, so we're not even going to listen to you. It's gotten to the point where they play the, shut up and ignore the problem, and it'll go away. And that's not the fact. We have literally a party, being the Democrats, have divided themselves into sub-parties. And honestly, that's the biggest division in our country, is the political parties. They've divided themselves so much that you really can't make heads or tails out of the Democratic Party anymore.
Yeah.
I don't fancy myself as a Republican or a Democrat. I fancy myself as an American who will vote in a way that best benefits my beliefs of what America should stand for.
Right.
I've never been a big fan of the Democratic Party, for the fact that, people can fact check this. The Democratic Party, years and years ago, was the first party to vote against abolishing slavery.
I remember that.
And, people are all up in arms. Oh, well, Republicans are all about slavery. No, actually, that's the basis of the Democratic Party for decades, was run on not abolishing slavery. And I'm sorry, I go to the root of everything. I believe that the foundation of what something is built on tells you its true colors.
Yeah.
And when the foundation of the Democratic Party has been built on lies, manipulation, belief over fact, feelings over compounded evidence, I just don't, I can't get behind the wheel of the vehicle they're trying to drive. Now, there's also things I don't believe in the Republican Party. That's, I believe more of what the Republicans, at least, over the last 15, 20 years have been talking about, than I do over the Democratic Party, but I don't fancy myself a Republican. I am a conservative. I believe in God. I believe in my Second Amendment right. I believe in all the rights, not just the Second Amendment. I believe in the freedom of speech, but you also have to understand that I have the same freedom to speak, and your opinion really doesn't have to bear any true importance to me.
Well, of course.
And that's the biggest thing is right now, I think, besides the political party, the other biggest division in the U.S. especially is people who want fact over feeling, or people who want feeling over fact, for that matter. You have the people that believe that their opinions and feelings are more substantiated by facts. Hey, the world sucks. It's a rough place.
Right.
Life is going to beat the hell out of you.
Yeah.
If you don't accept it. But the truth of the matter is that your life ain't going to get any longer.
No.
Because you believe in something, or it's not going to get better if the government gives you something. There's no such thing as the government giving you anything.
No, they take it back in one way or another. They get their worth out of it.
Well, the government gives me my GI Bill, but I had to serve 4 years for it.
Yeah.
Well,
and
4 years.
Yeah, and
it gives me quote unquote free health care.
Uh-huh.
But I have to serve for it. My average working hours during a week are 80 hours a week. So, I have a hard time believing that the government is just going to give you something.
Yeah.
And not expect something in return. Because, and it's nothing against the government. It's a transactional, it has to serve a transactional purpose.
Right.
You don't just go to the grocery store or Walmart and just grab everything in a cart and just walk out with it.
No.
There has to be a transaction.
Yeah.
You go to buy a car, nobody just gives you a car. Even if you win a car, you still have to pay the taxes. You still have to, pay the registration. You still have to insure it.
Yeah, it all comes at a price, even if it's not, physical, currency. It's still there's a price you'll have to pay sooner or later.
Right. And I just, people that scream up and down about socialism, it's like, look, many countries have tried socialism.
Well, what I found funny is it's real quick to throw up communism at any idea that they don't really particularly care for. And what always killed me is they say communism, but these people that keep swearing up and down that this new presidency or the new term is communism. It's like, okay, smartass, what kind of communism? Are we talking about Marxism? Are we talking about Leninism? Are we talking about pre-red revolution? What kind of communism are we talking about? Because there's like 4 or 5 different kinds. Just like people fail to realize that there's multiple types of socialism as well. Mm-hmm.
But there really isn't any. Other countries have tried communism in multiple forms, not just one.
Right.
Other countries have tried socialism in multiple forms. And you look at every single one of those countries, the government is extremely wealthy, and the people are living in poverty and have to basically live on only what the government gives them.
Yeah, they control it. You're giving up your control to a very few specific people, and then you're expected not to get used.
Right, but see, the idea when you're like, hey, I got this great plan. I'm gonna give you a Ferrari, and you're like, oh wow, that's a great Ferrari. but you don't realize that you're going to have to pay $50,000 in taxes.
Yeah, or $300 a month insurance.
You're more along the lines of about $400 to $500 a month, and that's if you're over 25.
Right.
So, without telling you the whole story, the sound of a brand new Ferrari is amazing. But just like anything else, there's another part to that story.
Yeah, it's like when a recruiter comes up promising you that Dodge Charger.
Yeah. But I mean, going back to the division in America, the biggest thing is, to me, it becomes and when I say educated, I don't mean if you have a degree.
Yeah, you can have a degree and be a retard.
So to me, it's the biggest division in America is the educated and the pliable. And by the pliable, I mean the people that I can bend to believe whatever I want them to believe based on zero facts. And now the intelligent people, whether they have a degree or they've got a GED or they're still in high school. Because my son is still in high school, and there's some things I talk about with him, and he's like, I don't understand why people don't get it. I'm like, well, son, that's the reality of the world. There's just people that don't get it. Unfortunately, we live in a softer time, because back, in my day and my father's day and my grandfather's day, we had glass bottles, we had swing sets that had metal everywhere.
Oh, God. The good old days.
The stupid ones just didn't make it.
Yeah.
We didn't have to say, don't eat Tide Pods.
Yeah.
We didn't have to say, don't point the gun at your face and check to see if it's loaded. There's a lot of things that we do nowadays that provide stupidity and environment to breed.
Yeah.
And, now we have just about everything comes in a plastic bottle.
Yeah, everything does seem kind of sterilized now. I mean...
because we have to make it soft. We have to make it gentle. We have to make it acceptable. And I'm sorry, life is just not acceptable and soft, and you're going to have to push through hard times. But you know what? You're going to come out the other end a better person.
Yeah.
But I do think that the biggest division besides the government, because I think the biggest division in the U.S. is the government, and because they're dividing themselves, they don't even want to be in their own party anymore. So,
yeah.
Besides the division in politics, I think the biggest division in the U.S. is those between the educated and between the educated and the pliable. The pliable are going to do, I don't want to say uneducated, because that wouldn't really make sense, but I've seen people with college degrees believe that that the world is flat.
Yeah.
We've got photographic evidence.
Yeah.
That indeed the world is not flat.
Yeah. Make for some interesting seasons if it wasn't. Yeah,
that'd be a little weird. But honestly, that's the biggest division. And until people educate themselves and do the hard work, but see, the people that are just willing to believe anything, they didn't do any hard work to get that information. They just saw it on social media.
Yeah, or Google.
And it becomes fact. Oh, I saw it on Facebook. Oh, I saw it on Twitter. Oh, I saw it on Instagram. So it must be true. And I've been in the fitness industry on top of the military for quite some time, and people honestly believe that there's these miracle cures out there that if you drink this potion, it will eliminate all the fat cells in your body.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that.
No, removing fat cells, what it needs? Called hard work. A strict diet, strict exercise routine.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's why to be honest with you, that's why the overweight continue to get more overweight. They don't read facts. They don't read and understand how the body works, just like a lot of people don't understand how the world works. They believe that if they live in their little bubble, that nothing can hurt them.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was speaking to about, the isolation, with not having to really leave your house to get any real life information.
Right.
People have their tablets, their laptops, their phones, so like you said, they're more going towards the lines of, the social media, the Google, and they're not really questioning anything. And so I kind of wonder if that's what causes a lot of division too. Like you said, it's not just Republican versus Democrat anymore. It's liberal versus conservative, and rural versus urban, and police against Antifa, and all this other shit. And it's like, holy fuck, dude, how do you keep up with it all?
Well, and that's the thing, you don't. So there's no way humanly possible to keep up with everything that's going on. For crying out loud, we've got people that want to buy guns that don't even understand that the military doesn't use assault weapons.
Yeah, I know.
It's a rifle, so it's an assault rifle. It's an assault rifle. Well, it has 30 rounds in the magazine. That's an assault rifle. No, you're an idiot. Look up, that's what the one guy on national news came off was like, well, it says it right in the name, AR, assault rifle.
Yeah, no.
Pretty sure that's not what AR stands for, an assault rifle, because I own several.
Yeah.
And, I'm not, I'm a military police officer, but I don't carry my service pistol home like, I wish I could.
Yeah.
But all the weapons I have are for sport and for the protection of my life and property.
Mm-hmm.
My family. My son, I'm sorry, somebody will get shot with
yeah.
whatever weapon I have close by me before my son gets one hair harmed on his head.
Well, yeah, and even with all the gun control laws that we have right now, people don't realize that it's not as easy as just walking into Ace Hardware and walking back out with one.
Well, you know what though? It's the perfect fix. Because if you ban weapons, nobody will have them anymore. Look at how well that worked for heroin.
Yeah.
They banned heroin, and that stuff's just non-existent anymore. You can't buy drugs anywhere.
Uh-huh. Right. Yeah, there's no mass shootings going on right now.
No. You're not going to have any problems if you get rid of all the guns, because all the criminals will be like, oh, they're illegal? Oh, I shouldn't get one then.
Yeah, I agree, and it's one of those arguments I feel like is probably just going to keep going on and on and on until
It's going to, because I am a very law-abiding citizen, but nobody is going to remove my ability to defend my family, my life, or my property.
Right? Yeah.
You can come to my house.
Right. You
can ask me very politely to turn in my weapons.
Yeah. Well,
that's going to happen. And if you try to take them, I'll give you it. You're going to come first, and then I'll give you the rest. I'll give you the magazine when it's empty, then I'll reload.
Yeah.
But, that's the thing. People are under the far left. I don't even like to call it the left anymore. The far left. They're under the impression that just giving people a law is going to fix everything. It's like, that's why we have police, because we already have laws. They're written down. There's many of them.
Yeah.
Both vehicle codes and penal codes, and yet we still have prisons. Yet we still need police to ticket people for driving unsafely and to prevent other people from getting severely injured and to prevent drivers from killing everybody that people don't know how to drive. But a law is not going to fix the problem.
Yeah, well, you got to figure, people got to take some responsibility, man. You can't just be like, oh, well, they'll just make a law and it'll make everything okay. Like you said, back in the day, it's that kind of mentality. People just didn't fucking make it. Seatbelts were an option when you went to the dealership, not a requirement.
Well, for the longest time, seatbelts weren't even available.
Yeah.
Now, that's when the old saying, only the strong survive, came out.
Yeah.
If you got into a head-on vehicle collision back then and you survived, you were a rock star.
Oh, yeah. Back then when shit was made out of steel, too.
Yeah. Yeah, everything inside the vehicle was metal. Metal dashboard, metal steering wheel, metal everything. But, I mean, the division is clearly, it starts from, everything starts from the top, right? Mm-hmm. So, when you've got one political party split into 2 or 3 different beliefs, they're showing people that, well, you don't have to follow the law. You can just do your own thing. Like, you don't have to follow the guidelines set out for the Democratic Party. We're just going to do our own thing. And you're showing people that it's okay to not do or fight for what you're doing.
Yeah, a little bit of integrity, a little bit of honor, maybe.
Yeah, well, there's a severe lack of that in the far left.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a severe lack in that. Now, I say the far left because not all Democrats are horrible, and not all Republicans are good.
Yeah, but you're going to get the extremes when it comes to anything you see on a screen now.
Correct.
But
yeah, that's where I believe the division starts, and then it just trickles down. People see it and they're like, oh, well, I can just hate everybody. And here's the thing: you can hate whoever you want. It's not going to make me hate you anymore. I don't dislike you because of your opinion. I'm actually glad you have a different opinion than mine, because it makes me a smarter person to be able to hear 50 or 60 different opinions, get a collective way to move forward, and at least agree to one way of moving forward. But if I block everybody's idea out that I don't like, it never gives me another perspective.
Right, and you have to be willing to admit if you are wrong about a certain fact, or you do find something. You have to kind of be willing to change along with it. You know what I mean? Otherwise.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just like, one of my favorite beliefs is that electronic cars are so much better for the environment.
Yeah.
It's like, do you realize that I could remove all the emissions off of a diesel truck and run that diesel truck for 10 years consistently, never turning it off, run it for 10 years, and it's still not as toxic as making one lithium battery for your smart car?
Yeah, I never thought. I mean, I thought about it in other ways, but I didn't know. Realize it in that perspective. Like I was thinking more of in terms of all the silicone and all the everything that it takes to make all that electronic circuitry. And
well, not only that, but to make gasoline, we have to poke a hole in the ground. We basically have to put a straw down below, and we have to suck out the crude oil, right?
Yeah.
In order to get the materials required for these batteries and these electronic cars, they have to use strip mining. So they're gutting valleys and gorges out of the earth to get these materials to make these electronic cars. So they're literally ripping apart the earth. Massive, hundreds and hundreds of acres of property being devastated to get the materials required to make these electronic cars.
Yeah.
I mean, they're literally just, and then all this stuff, they have a way they have to process it, and where does the waste go from the process? It goes right back into the earth, because the people strip mining, there's no there's no real strict regulation on that.
It's
strip mining.
It's nuts when you think about it, man. And it's such a huge population that they're selling this product to. I mean,
yeah, they know the first part of the story.
Yeah.
The first part of the story is, I'm not using gasoline and creating a gas emission, so it must be better for the environment. But they don't know the backstory. They don't know how it's produced. They don't know how harmful it is for the environment, the toxic waste that is developed from producing these things.
Yeah.
All they know is they can feel good about themselves because they themselves are not actively putting emissions into the air. And, just like anything else, if somebody feels good about themselves, they don't care who it hurts.
So you feel like it's because part of it is because, like you said, it's softer. It's a softer era now, and it there's more of kind of a, oh well, if I don't get it, somebody else will do it and come along and save me kind of attitude.
Yeah, they don't want to hear the truth. They don't. Nobody. I shouldn't say nobody. A small percentage of the population is about all that wants to know the truth and wants to know the details behind it. Everybody else just wants the finished product. Everybody just wants the free education. Everybody just wants
instant gratification.
Health care. They don't care about anybody else or what the process is. And they don't realize how harmful stuff like that is to our culture. They don't care. They don't care about the process. They only care about the end result. And that's why you have people on the divisiveness of people on the far left. They're all they're selling people on is the end result. There's no basis.
So how can you? I wouldn't even know where to start. Honestly, just for real, I wouldn't. I don't even know where to start as far as where to start fixing it. Where can because it's harder than ever. I feel like nowadays to get people to unify on anything. To get anybody to come together and see something other than just Americans trying to live the best life we can.
The only way to do that is just like what happens with especially I'll use the Navy as a comparison. When you have a toxic, a command that's considered to have a toxic environment, right? The toxic environment leads to injuries, leads to catastrophes, leads to ships getting wrecked, leads to people getting killed, leads to rapes and
well, you have to have self-awareness, man. You have to be aware of people around you and your environment.
But what happens typically in those commands? They do an investigation and they find out that the skipper, the CO, the XO, and the CMC were not the ones at the top were not doing their jobs actively. They were doing them passively, but they weren't doing them actively. And that's the kind of government we have now. We have a very passive government.
Yeah.
Just tell us what you want. They're not doing their jobs. Because, there's, Bernie Sanders swears up and down he's going to fix it when he becomes president. The guy's had 36 years in Congress, and he didn't fix shit. I don't think a 4-year presidency is going to help the matter. So, we have to start at the top in order to, because, when we have these toxic commands, the first thing we do is we go in, we get rid of the CO, we get rid of the XO, we get rid of the CMC. And we put three big policy makers and policy enforcers into that command. and they got the supervisors, they got the department heads, the division officers. They figure out which one of the department heads and division officers are toxic, and then they get rid of those people. So, the one thing I said years and years ago, before Trump was even, a thing about, running for president, I kept saying back and forth, I want a president that's not a politician.
Yeah.
Because the thing is politicians, for the most part, majority of them are linked to each other via some favor or backdoor deal or the dirt that they acquired on another one. So they're linked.
That's what happens when you have two major parties that require, the financial backing instead. Oh man, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but sometimes I just wish we could get like something independent, like just buck this Democrat Republican shit. Let's get somebody who's not in anybody's real pocket. He's on his own. So it's not, oh well, I'm doing this in order to get funding from this party so that I can afford this. So I'm not going to. Yeah.
But see, Brian, that's what we got. We got Trump. Trump. Nobody can do Trump a favor.
Yeah.
Trump's got the money. He's got the connections. So that's why, if you look, if you really dig deep down into why these politicians are upset, they're upset because they can't coerce him into doing things they want him to do. They don't have a vantage point. So he's calling out all the people that he sees are toxic. So he's the new, the way I look at it, he's the new CO.
Right.
He came in and he got a new EXO, which is, in my eyes, it's the Secretary of Defense. And then, actually Vice President, and then the CMC is like the Secretary of Defense. But he's going in, and that's why these politicians are so pissed. They're pissed because they don't have any political ties to this guy. This guy has no political ties to anybody else. There's not some deep, dark thing that, we've had all these, politicians come out with that, the child molesters and everything else.
Yeah. Wow.
So he's out there calling, a duck a duck. And, you got the politicians going, no, it's a chicken.
Yeah.
No, it's a fucking duck. And I'm getting rid of the fucking duck. And that's the thing. He is not a politician. And I don't, it didn't have to be Trump. I would have picked anybody in the world, not a previous politician.
Right.
I've been saying this for, a couple of decades, that we needed a businessman, because the U.S. is a business. We have commerce, we have trade, we have, defense, offense. It's a business.
Dude, I feel like that too. Like, I feel like I remember, at least in younger days, when I could at least pick up the simplest utensil or object and not see somebody else's name plastered across the back of it. Some brand name, fucking company name. It's just, it feels ridiculous now, because it's like everywhere you look, there's an advertisement, and I'm like, holy shit. Yeah.
Then a fork was a fork and a spoon was a spoon.
Yep.
But that's the thing, the U.S. is a business. We needed a businessman or woman, I don't care.
Yeah.
We needed a business person to come in and fix our country, because you had a bunch of politicians with no real business experience. They were political. They were politicians. They never really ran the majority of them, I should say.
Yeah.
Never ran a really big business.
Right. Well, and I feel like you're right, because it's I feel like this America's kind of become like the super mall, like the supermarket of the world. You know what I mean? And who else would you want running, a mall or a supermarket plaza than a business person, somebody who's used to that shit.
Yeah, I'm not going to hire an electrician to build the foundation of my house.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hire a foundation guy, a guy that works in concrete, works in rebar, works in cement block to build my flipping foundation.
Right.
Just like I'm not going to expect the plumber to go in and fix my electricity.
And, but not for nothing. I agree with a lot of what she just stated. But you ever kind of wonder, like, or get a little worried that, like, are there checks to keep this guy in place if he does become, bigger than his shorts will allow?
Is it what you said?
Checks, like checks and balances. Is there a way to make sure that this person who is not aligned to really any big party, do you feel there's enough in place in case he gets too big for his britches one day and starts overstepping, the people?
There's always checks and balances, and that's society. I mean, our government has multiple checks and balances. I mean, we have, for one, I mean, a bill doesn't get approved unless he can write up whatever bill he wants, and
okay.
It doesn't have to pass.
Even when he's doing the it's an executive order.
Well, but the executive orders have checks and balances, and I actually did a thesis paper on this, on executive orders.
Right.
And people act like there's zero oversight on executive orders. There actually is oversight on executive orders.
Yeah, I kind of.
It has to meet and it has to meet specific criteria,
mm-hmm.
and that criteria is the checks and balances.
Yeah, so I kind of figured it was just something I wanted to kind of bring up because I feel like that's what a lot of people are freaking out about now. When you hear all this mudslinging back and forth is, I think people get this knee-jerk reaction like, oh, he's not in control. Oh, he's gonna, go crazy.
There can be all this, mudslinging back and forth, whatever they want to say, that he's gonna do this and he's gonna do that. It's not a dictatorship.
Right.
Okay. We don't. The United States of America has never operated, effectively on a dictatorship.
No.
So, we have different branches of government. It's not one person making every single decision. So, they can mudsling all they want. The checks and balances are in place. There's oversight to make sure that he doesn't do anything. It's just like any president doesn't do anything that, crazy. Even though I personally think Obamacare was nuts. But, there's enough in place to keep a single person's desires from flourishing and becoming law.
Right.
But if we elect somebody else into the seat, that's from the far left, that's not going to be a one-person choice to run the country based on socialism. That they're going to get multiple backings from idiots that think that we would work great under a socialist economy.
Right.
Whereas the reality of it is not. It would not function because we're not. Our country is. I mean, if it did function like that, that'd be fine. I'd just leave.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've visited socialist-run countries, and let's just say it was okay to visit for a day or two, but didn't want to stay there.
Yeah, it's okay for a vacation, but not something you'd want to wake up to every single day.
No. And they can anybody can sling mud on any president, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and no president's perfect because no human being is perfect, and we all have flaws. And my goal, every time I vote, whether it's for a president or whatever I'm voting for, is who has the least. or not necessarily who has the least, but who has the flaws that I can deal with.
Yeah, it's the same. It's got to be the lesser of two evils, but that's just the way life is.
But I mean, I've been saying it for years. We needed a non-politician, and after Trump's out of office in 2024, then I'll vote for the next non-politician that wants to run for president.
Yeah, hopefully we get some actual choices, man. Like, good God.
But you know, the reality is I mean, in the Republican Party, who really wants to run up against Trump?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I personally think we need another 4 years to straighten the economy out and to straighten some of the other things out that have just gone completely bonkers in the last, 12 years.
Yeah.
But once we straighten that out, then we can let the new CEO step down and let another guy come in and take over the reins and say, okay, thanks for fixing it. I'll run it from here.
Yeah.
And but that's what we needed. This is back, God, when Ross Perot was running for president. I wanted Ross Perot. I didn't want a politician.
Yeah, I
wanted somebody who was not a politician to be in office to fix the country. And I think he would have been a good president, but it's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I think, not because of his leadership abilities or anything else, but because the guy understands business.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest thing I support our president on now, is that the guy really knows how to run a business.
Well, yeah.
You can say, well, yeah, but he claimed bankruptcy. Yeah, he did that strategically.
And I would imagine in any litigious, society that's based on capitalism and currency, a businessman would do pretty well, at least, if nothing else, at navigating the bullshit,
Well, and if you look at the most successful business people, even the ones in foreign countries, a lot of them went to school here in the U.S.
Yeah.
To understand economics, the economic breakdowns, and
even the countries that hate us.
Yeah, what drives an economy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've personally never seen the stock market at such high rates, and I mean, it's not saying that I watch the stock market like a hawk, but it's kind of refreshing to turn on the TV and not see red lines going down anymore. The Dow hasn't plummeted like it did before.
Yeah.
It hasn't plummeted like it did before. The guy's making good business decisions, and
so far as no big crashes, huh?
Yeah, and I mean, there's two things. Any president, if you support our military, you support our first responders, and you drive the economy in an upward slide, I'll support you.
Yeah.
And those are some of the things I look for personally, and don't come after my rights, and we're good. But that's some of the things I look for.
Well, yeah, it's just the basics of freedom and having the right to choose. Unfortunately, right. I feel like a lot of the problem is, these people aren't really choosing, based on any, real info. There's, one, like we were just talking about, one extreme or the other. You're either far left or far right. Nobody's really taking the time to take aspects of both stories, kind of weed through the bullshit, see what's left, and go, okay, well, this seems like it makes a little more sense. Let's roll it with it this way. But it's just knee-jerk shit, and unfortunately, with it being such a media-based society now, it's right. Nobody's really educating. That like you were saying about between the educated and the pliable. How do you fix that shit, man? Because
well, you're not going to fix society completely, but what you can do is gut. So we put the right people in place. Now we've got to go ahead and, as a people, set term limits for congressmen. You know, we always say, well, we need a set set of eyes. You know, we need a different set of eyes in a presidency. That's why the presidency has term limits. Okay, so how is it? The funniest thing, the thing I find bewildering and kind of confusing as all hell, is that the people blaming a guy that's been there for a couple of years are the ones that have been policymakers for decades. And it's like, hold on a second, you've got the fix? Well, fuck, where was that fix 30 years ago?
Right.
Where was that fix 25 fucking years ago?
Yeah, like, how long have you been sitting on this, Haas?
15 years ago.
Yeah.
Are you holding out for some big reveal? Are you a magician?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you see some of these term limits on these people, and you're looking, or these terms on people, and you're like, and you're saying this guy who's been in the office for a couple of years is the problem. Like, I don't even blame Obama for some of the stuff, because you can clearly see that it was driven by the people that had been there a lot longer than he had.
Yeah, well, it's just like I was saying earlier, you know, people taking responsibility and learning shit for themselves and educating themselves and not waiting for somebody else to fucking spoon feed it to them, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, one of the big fixes we can do right now as a country to stop the divide, or at least, you know, lighten it, is gut Congress. Get some fresh faces in there. Have them review policy. Have them, because these guys, some of these, you hear some of them talking, they're talking about policy that hadn't been in place for over 15 years. So that tells you that the last time they read the damn policy was 15 years ago, at best.
Shit.
So they're operating based off of, you know, that's like the senior guy in the military that read the manual and, you know, 10 years ago and can quote it line by line, but the problem is that policy has changed 5 or 6 times since then.
Yeah, I remember.
So he or she spits out the wrong information.
Yeah.
That's what's happening in Congress all over again. But it's because, you know, you're never going to get to the root of the problem until you gut the fucking root.
Who would do that? The president?
Well, I mean, it's already, I believe there's already a petition to set term limits for Congress.
Yeah, but I'm saying, how do you get into a position where you can change policy on the policymakers?
Gut it. Gut the policymakers.
Is there's an official way to do that? I wonder, like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if term limits gets approved, then they're not going to be able to just rerun for their seat.
But aren't
they run for their 4 or 6 or 8 years or whatever it is, and they're done. Go home.
But I mean, aren't the people that are going to have to approve this the people that are going to be gutted? I mean,
not necessarily. There's ways around it. You know, the government. Some people in the government want us to believe that we're a lot weaker than we really are.
I agree.
And you know, the people can get a lot done.
If they would actually get over some stupid shit and.
So look at the Navy, for instance, right? You remember? I don't know if you remember when the Navy got rid of ratings.
Yes, I about lost my shit. I remember very well.
Yep. So the Navy got rid of ratings. That was a command decision based on 2 people, right? 2 people said that's a great fucking idea.
Yeah, I about lost my mind, dude. I was like, okay, what the fuck?
So that would be like Congress saying, we're going to do this. And then the people, the Navy, the rest of the people in the Navy, meaning we the people,
right,
said, we raised an uproar about it. And even though this was approved at the highest levels of the military, it quickly got reversed.
Yeah, that is kind of, that's true.
The people, we the people of the military, and the military is one of those things where you do what you're fucking told, but there was still enough disagreement with it.
Yeah.
We were still able to change policy.
Yeah, you had enough people that pretty much got together, and that's what I'm saying. That's gotta there's got to be a way to do that out here to where, like you said, people can get educated and actually realize that they're stronger than they think and that they can reverse a lot of this shit. But they've got to stop fucking putting their head in the sand and hoping it'll go away and ignoring it, like we were speaking of earlier.
Yeah, it's not going to go away. The only way it'll go away is if they die off. And that's the only time they're going to go away, because they're not going to leave a job where they're making millions of dollars by backdoor drug deals.
No.
But, that's one way.
Yeah.
That's one way to begin to soften the divide, is get rid of the garbage. Get rid of the toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of that stuff that we don't need in the U.S.
Get rid of the fluff.
Yeah. We're the United States of America, not the United Nation of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
We're not the United Nation of, whatever, Sharia law or whatever. We're the United States of America.
Yeah.
We have different cultures and different creeds and hey, I'm all for, I'm all for people coming into the country. Because if they didn't come into the country, if my relatives hadn't, migrated to the U.S., I wouldn't be here.
All right.
But do it the right way.
Yeah.
Just like you do anything you want in the world, but do it the right way. Get a car. Yes, buy it the right way. Don't steal it.
Yeah.
Get a house. Buy it the right way. Don't raid it. There's a lot of things you can do in this world, and that, yes, it is a little bit tougher.
Yeah, there's procedure, man. Yeah.
Well, I couldn't even say it's tougher. It's actually easier. It's just more time consuming.
God, yes, it is.
If you look at I think it's physically and mentally more challenging to come across the border of the United States illegally than it is to just walk in, start your paperwork, and figure it the fuck out.
You would think so.
But the process takes time.
Yeah, a lot of time.
It takes time. But the divide is the far left, way far left, like out in left field.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh, we're turning people away. No, we're not. We're not turning people away. We're processing to make sure that we don't have any violent fucking criminals coming into the U.S.
Yeah, is that what the detention camps, the big?
Yeah, those are holding facilities. Like, yeah, I'm not going to just release you into the wild because I don't know if I've got a dog with rabies or if I have just a regular puppy dog.
Yeah.
I have to make sure said person doesn't possess any ill intent towards, and everybody acts like we're the big meanies. You ever try to go into another country?
Yes, I know, dude.
So I've been to multiple countries, and even though I am vetted to the highest levels of our government,
yeah, we still get scrutinized.
It's still scrutiny, and it's still a pain. And boy, I'm telling you, if I stay one day past my visa, they're pounding on the door, ready to get me out of there.
Oh yeah.
You can't sit there and tell me that the United States is the big meanies, because I've seen how a lot of these other countries operate their immigration policy.
Oh, I know.
And you ain't even getting in.
Oh, I know.
You can visit. You can visit.
Uh-huh.
But don't get picked up illegally. Oh my God.
Jesus.
You think it's staying in one of those camps. Try staying in a third world country's prison.
I remember going through oh God, who was it? Dubai. There was Dubai and God, Ali. You remember there were like guards with submachine guns in there.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit! You don't want to fuck up at that airport, buddy.
They have machine guns, and they literally, every person that walks out, they literally follow you with the barrel.
Yep.
You do one thing out of line, they just shoot you and call it a day.
Yeah, I remember, man. I was like, wow, man.
We're not the big, but people believe this because these are the people who are uneducated, who have not traveled outside the country, or if they have traveled outside the country, travel to a nice and inviting place. They haven't traveled to, the other 80% of the countries in the fucking world.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Go ahead and overstay your welcome in Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and enter Russia illegally. Let me know how that works out for you.
Yeah, I want to be a fly on the wall for that one.
or Mongolia. There's a good
one. Oh, shit.
Enter Mongolia undocumented and see what happens.
Yeah.
May whatever God you believe in have mercy on your soul.
No shit.
You're probably not alive.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, to start the process of eliminating the divide, we have to get rid of the people who are dividing it.
Right.
And that's the thing. I mean, years ago, the country wasn't as divided. Well, yeah, because we didn't have social media to tell everybody how mean everybody else was.
Yeah.
But, with that being said, we have to get rid of the people that are trying to divide it. And we have to put people in there that want to unite it. They want to hear the other side's argument. They want to hear how they can maybe make their policy a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the people that we need to get into place. But right now, we can't fix it because we don't have people in place that want to bring it together. We have people in place that want to divide it. And they want their opinions to be heard. And they want their way of life to be the one that everybody is forced to live by.
Yeah, well, that's why I was feeling it earlier. That it's got to start kind of at the bottom, man. People have the people. You have to educate people that are able to put these people in place. You have to start at the bottom and let people know, hey, you need to we need to put these people in place. Stop.
And I believe the exact opposite. I think we have to start at the top.
The top? Yeah.
Yeah, because we have to. So just like with the president and the economy, it didn't matter what the people did. It didn't matter what Tom, Dick, and Jane did.
Yeah.
With their money, because that wasn't going to fix the economy. We needed major things done to fix the economy. And those are the policymakers. Those are the troubleshooters. And next thing, we got to fix the divide. Well, the only thing I can think of, I mean, yes, we do need to work from the bottom. Don't get me wrong.
Well, when you've got people that are so distracted by over who's allowed in what bathroom and shit like that, they're totally distracted from the fact that we have to put people in place and start at the top.
Yeah, and all these people that believe that men should be in women's bathrooms and women should be in men's bathrooms. Okay, I'm sorry. There's two genders.
Because it's even I've brought it up a lot of times. It's even in law enforcement. When I was a kid, when I was knee high, a cop was somebody you trusted. You had cops that were just randomly coming through the neighborhood, just, hey, how you doing? You got to know them. You knew them by face even. And now it's so divided between, it's a white man with a badge. He's racist. And it's vicious, dude.
Well, but see, and just like anything else, there's good and bad, right? There's good and bad politicians. There's good and bad firemen. There's good and bad police officers.
Right.
But see, the problem comes from a deeper root. So why did screening processes for police officers get less? Well, because
Indeed.
we needed more police officers because violent crime spiked.
True.
Okay. So now I've got to get all these police officers that were shot and killed and all this other stuff. I got to get replacements for them.
Right.
Well, I don't have time to put them through a 15 or a 16-week academy. I'll put them through a 4-week academy. I'll get them out there, and then hopefully I'll have time to screen them after they're out. Well, where did a lot of this violent crime come from? Look at the crime spike, and this is something I found, pretty pretty phenomenal, and the information's right there. It's not hard to get. Mm-hmm. But violent crime spiked when the borders got flooded.
Huh.
And so, okay, so you put more people in. Well, you put more people in an area, you need more police officers, right?
Right.
You don't have time. They don't take 16, 18 weeks to come into the state or the city. They come in right now.
Right. Okay.
So now we've got to get police officers in there, get them in there, get them in there. Well, the screening practices drop. Right?
Right.
Because you only got so many people to do screenings for the police officers because you can't hire any more because your budget's limited. So you got to basically get to the screening when you possibly can. Well, that police officer, just like in the military, I've seen people serve active duty for 2-3 years and then get screened. You know, their final screen comes down. It's like, oh, you can't have a clearance.
Yeah.
And they've been doing the job for 3 years.
Yeah, you know, I've been there I've personally witnessed shit like that actually, where you know they're filling out their SF-86, and you know they've been in the military for doing that job that they came in to do for 2.5 years already, and all of a sudden, bam! Oh, you can't do this anymore because you know your background check came back dicked up. You know.
Yep. And this, you know, I'm not saying that if you know if the screening process went perfect, that we'd still catch all the bad apples, because we're not going to. There's never going to be an absolutely perfect police force. There's never going to be absolutely perfect doctors.
Oh, agreed.
Absolutely perfect nurses or you know, clerks or sales reps. Or people are people. They're human beings. They're prone to error. They're, you know, even a robot, you can program it. It gets a virus and it's going to do something it ain't supposed to do. So, you know, nobody or object is zero defect. So, you know, the divide has got to be upon, you know, as a society. One thing we can do as a society is to stop nitpicking everybody's defect and saying it's like the nation playing bully on each other.
Right.
When you believe this, so you're a bad person. You're literally, essentially, almost textbook definition of bullying that person.
Yeah, the divide and conquer.
It's no different than telling a kid at high school, you're not cool because you're not wearing Air Jordans.
Yeah.
And then that kid feels picked on, and then they lash out, or whatever the case may be. You know, but it's the same thing, just on a larger and more, you know, impactful scale.
Mm-hmm.
But stop finding reasons to divide each other and get away from each other or ridicule somebody, and start finding ways to pull together and work together.
Oh, agreed.
And that will lessen the divide. That will start to pull people together. I don't have anything against somebody else because of their race, color, creed, gender, religion, sexual preference. I don't care.
Yeah, that's...
Your outlook on life, because you're different than me, is going to make me better able to understand other people.
Yeah, that's what I miss about the general climate when I was active duty. There was no colors, there was no, you know, black, Chinese. You know, it was you were all blue or you were all green, depending on the branch. You know. Yeah,
but and even if you got us into a conflict, the blue and the green got together just fine.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter what color uniform or what kind of uniform we were wearing.
Yeah, we'll give each other rib shots all day long, but don't you fucking mess with them, you know?
Yep. So, you know, but, you know, that's something I think as the people we can do better, is instead of looking for reasons to dislike someone, look for reasons to pull together as a nation, and at the same time, gut the people who are making the crappy decisions that impact policy. Get rid of them.
Indeed, and realize that you can get rid of them. You just got to learn how.
Yeah, but that's the way I feel on, you know, the divide in the country.
Well, yeah, I think that was a lot of good information. I think we've given a lot of people a lot to think about, and hopefully it was enlightening, and I hope everybody has enjoyed this. It's been a pleasure to have you back as always.
Oh, thank you.
And really enjoyed it, also as usual. And that was tonight's session of the Smoke Pit Project, and we'll see you all later. All right, signing off, guys.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name. He doesn't need his name up in lights, he just wants to be heard, whether it's the beat of the mic. He feels so unlike everybody else, alone, in spite of the fact that some people still think that they know him. But fuck him, he knows the code. It's not about the salary, it's all about reality and making some noise, making a story, making sure his click stays up. That means when he puts it down, toxic like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name. He doesn't need his name up in lights, he just wants to be heard, whether it's the beat of the mic. He feels so unlike everybody else, alone, in spite of the fact that some people still think that they know him. But fuck him, he knows the code. It's not about the salary, it's all about reality and making some noise, making a story, making sure his click stays up. That means when he puts it down, toxic.